Hi, everybody. Chris Wiley here with Wiley Development Group. I'm joined by Darren Nicholson from iPort, some of you are familiar with. Peter Wiley, my brother and partner in Wiley Development Group, and Matt Plapp, who's our guest host today. Matt from Driven Media Solutions will be sharing the mic. We are going to pause just a minute while we get everybody organized, and I'm going to switch over to the actual presentation here. Get her up on the screen. I think I am. And I'm watching my studio monitor here to see if it actually catches up. Thanks to you guys for joining us early. It usually takes a couple minutes to get everybody seated, so we're going to stand by for just a minute till everybody shows up in their seats. Darren and Elena, are you guys seeing these slides on your screen properly? I went to the welcome slide. All right, well, let's try that. Here we go. There we go. Now you got slides on your screen. Yay. All right. Thanks for you guys. I see a bunch of the folks are in the audience. Thanks for joining on time. We'll have a couple more folks coming in here momentarily. I will repeat the introductions in a minute for our guests. But as I start off, I want to give you a quick recap of where we are in the event series. Thanks for joining our webinar series. It's for folks in the fast casual space, franchise operations, store development, that sort of thing. Today's event is all about social media marketing. You've probably figured that out if you got here already. We have an event coming up, in March. Sorry, I'm saying March. We conducted a Sell For Alcohol event in March with Darren Nicholson, who's here with us from iPort, one of our partners. If you missed that event, you can get to our website and or from the information that you receive after this event, you'll be able to go see those recordings. We talked a lot about how Sell For Alcohol is absolutely rocking the fast casual space. In February, we did an event on tax incentives. If you were not able to join that event, again, the materials from that event are available to download on our website. If you don't see them on the site because we replaced them with the current month, you can reply to your email and Elena or Ned will help you get that content. We essentially talked about what we learned about how to build restaurants with the Tax Cut and Jobs Act tax incentives, which give us literally 100% write-off credit for every dollar we put into an operation, which effectively makes it free over a period of time. And coming up in May, we're going to talk about the battle for locations, the partnerships that we've developed for build-to-suit arrangements, where people stand up buildings in prime retail locations, how we work together with multiple brands and multiple developers to accomplish that, and how it may help folks on this call have an opportunity to do more stores in their local market, because we know that, like us, most operators want to stay within an hour of home, especially when there's a problem in a store or a problem with a management team member. You don't want to be getting on an airplane. So we are just about 5 minutes in. I want to jump into introductions real quick before we go to an audience poll. Joining me on the event today, you can see Darren standing with his noise-canceling headphones. Hi, Darren. Darren's with iPort. They're a partner of ours in the Sell For Alcohol space, and a large number of their audience members are with us here today. Again, my brother Pete Wiley is here. Pete handles all of marketing and technology for a couple of brands that our family is part of, the Rapid Fire Pizza brand and the Hothead Burritos brand. And Matt Plapp with Driven Media Solutions. Matt has been our, hey, I like that, a head on a stick. Matt has been a partner for the last year. We came to know him. Excuse me, I'm trying to get something off my screen. We came to know Matt as a result of a franchisee discovering him and getting some amazing results. And as a result, we began a large pilot, and we've really started to rock and roll with Matt in our program. What I'd like to do is, I see we have a lot of folks on the line, and it'd be very helpful to understand a little bit about who's here and the perspectives that everybody has. So I'd like to start off with a poll of the audience, and if you could, grab your mouse, exercise that clicking finger, and if you could, respond to the audience poll, which is what best describes your perspective. Are you coming to this event as somebody who's operating a store or multiple restaurants? Do you actually operate across multiple brands already? We do meet a lot of folks on these events that are completely new and entering the space, and we meet a number of folks that are actually investors in the space, really trying to do a deeper dive and assess the opportunities. So thanks everybody for voting. And let's see who we've got today. It looks like a full mix, a little bit of everybody. Some folks in store operations, and you can see it yourself. I don't have to read the slide to you. So we'll try to adjust the talking points as we go to address everybody in the audience and keep everybody engaged. We'll do this a couple more times during the event. So with that, I'd like to give a quick recap of what we're going to cover today. 1 second. So there's 4 topics. This is the format is 15-minute segments. The first of the 4 topics is literally the power of social media marketing. We're going to talk about our results, what we've done, and how that may apply to your business, and you can see really actual results. The second segment is about why this isn't just web marketing. This is not about websites and just posting stuff on Facebook and other social media. Matt's going to dive in and give us an overview of how we today in our business are building a database instead of just marketing to get people to come in and redeem a coupon. This is about building a database of people who will be with you for a long, long time that you can continuously remarket to. The third segment, Matt and I together will do a dive on how to create content that both gets your audience and gets real results. And this is all about traditional content that you may be doing today. Pete's team in our operation has been posting amazing content for years and years, and we learned more in the last 6 months than we learned in the prior 8 years about what it takes to engage customers in that marketing. And we're going to go deep dive on that. And in the end, we'll talk about the opportunity to actually build in your local market and grow in your market in various ways that we can help. So with that, I'm going to jump into another quick audience poll. You guys could play along one more time. And again, give us a little perspective on what's happening in your world. Which types of social media are you using to market your business today? And again, on this one, I believe you can select one or more. I'm curious to see, how diverse the group is. We started out with, basic websites. We expanded to Facebook. We certainly use Instagram and Snapchat, which have become really the choice of the younger crowd. But our target audience is, I think, heavily in the 30 to 40s with kids. So we do fairly well on Facebook. And if there's anybody on Twitter, I'd love to understand more about that. Thanks, everybody, for playing along. And it looks like everybody's on Facebook. And you're going to enjoy this presentation today. I know Darren is a user of pay-per-click stuff on Google and is getting great results with that. Instagram, Snapchat, we'll do not so much a deep dive on those, but Matt, I will have you address that if you could as we go. And we've begun to copy all of our production to YouTube. I'm still trying to understand for my own self what YouTube means to me, but I can tell you that Facebook is getting results in our audience. So with that, I want to talk about our results. We literally are driving customers into our stores. When we implemented this program last year with Matt, we did a pilot in 8 stores. They did it across, actually, I believe that was almost all in our Rapid Fire Pizza brand. The decision we made early on was we did not make any change to our existing direct mail or billboards or other promotional activities. We kept them the same. That way we could compare the 8 stores in the program with the stores that weren't. And what we found is that we were literally driving customers into the stores in the same fashion that a direct mail event would drive people in to redeem coupons. This system, you'll see today how it tracks what comes in, and what we found is that every time we took an action, we could cause people to come redeem those coupons. And what we found with our staff is that the customers who are redeeming them, because they have to show you their phone and they have to take an action in Facebook Messenger, I believe, I'll let Matt clarify that, my staff knows that that's a brand new customer, not because they didn't know how to redeem the coupon, but because they didn't know how to order the food in our Q-line style rapid fire pizza and hothead burritos concepts. They were completely new to the concept. Here I show just a screenshot of our video catalog. We'll come back to that later. But if you notice, I put some little boxes around the view counts. This is actually a segment from our Bowling Green Rapid Fire Pizza location, Bowling Green, Ohio. You can see a couple of those. The one on the bottom left went to more than 30,000 views in literally a matter of days. When we started our Beer Wall Beta Testers campaign, that one went to 15,000 views. Well, what the magic of that is, it's not just the views. We're going to learn about that today. It's the fact that people engaged with that content, took several actions, and then we converted them to customers who opted in to get regular communication from us. We're going to talk about how that works today. So we drove customers into the stores. That's why we're doing it. But most importantly, we built a significant database. We'll talk about size later. We track all this so that we can understand our customer acquisition costs. I saw the store operators, the multi-unit operators are on this call, and I'm sure all of you know right off the top of your head what your customer acquisition cost is when you do direct mail. Now, Pete, you do our direct mail. You've been monitoring it for years. And when you think about most of our stores do twice a month drops, right?
Correct.
Yeah, in the course of those twice a month drops, for every $1,000 we spend, we get X number of customers come in and redeem a coupon. We don't know who they are, but we know they redeemed a coupon. Do you have in your mind, top of head, what a direct mail customer through the door costs us? If we spend $1,000 on a mail drop, what that result is?
We figure it's $1,000 a month on most mail drops in most markets, and we're talking usually big cities or small towns, big cities, not mailing like Cincinnati metropolis. We figure about $1,000, you get maybe a 3% redemption, probably a 1%. So it's not significant, and the number of redemptions is a small percentage of actually what goes out there. So your acquisition costs can vary a fair amount, but it gets up there as you're spending $1,000 bringing the same person in every single time. So.
Yeah, and that's we'll talk about that today. So at $1,000 at 1%, Aaron, you're better with the math. I think that's about 100 people. Is that right? If I spend $1,000 and I get 1% of the people in,
That's right.
I can do that on a whiteboard.
Couldn't do it that fast. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's $10. I talk to operators every day who tell me their customer through the door cost on a direct mail piece or other type of promotion like that is in the $10, $15, even $20 range. The difference here, like Pete said, is the customer coming to the door is 50% of the time they're new. Now, as I put a couple notes on the slide, even for my benefit, we do use radio, we do TV. Pete's team does amazing work with that. But it's the type of thing that's very expensive. We can't run TV and radio all the time. We do blitzes at various times of the year. Billboards, we love them, right? But you can't keep them up all the time. People become, insensitive to them. But really what we're doing is driving new customers through the door, and instead of just discounting to the same guy every time, because that's who tends to respond to a mailing with a coupon set on it, is a customer who already knows you. They come in with 3 coupons to try to get the best deal. But once we acquire them, we're able to remarket to them for free. Across our pilot today, we've expanded from 8 stores to 28 stores, and we are getting about 900 customers out of the 28 stores opting into the program, giving us their email address, signing up for the Facebook Rewards program to give us permission to market to them. And as a result, we can send not only coupons to them every month, I'll come in a second. We're not only sending them coupons, we can promote all of our limited time offers, which are not discount promotions. And the responsiveness to those offers is very, very high, which is what Matt will dive into in a minute. I'm using this partly for fun, but partly because we use the same technique and the same platform with Matt's help I'm trying to see Matt again here. We use the same technique, the same platform to bring you folks to this event. If it got you here today, it must have worked. I just got a little pre-event note from one of my teammates who said this video, which is on our Facebook page, which was part of the email invitation, it was also part of the Facebook ad campaign that drove a lot of the folks to this audience. As of the last hour, it had 56,000 views. Now, we'll talk about why I had 40,000 on the screen, but why 40,000 or 56,000 isn't what matters. It's the 1,200 viewers who actually engaged in the video. By the way, that number as of an hour ago is 1,900 people, Matt, had played the video and stayed in it. Literally almost 300 watched the entire 20-minute promo video.
Wow. It's a lot.
So each month, what we're finding with Matt's program, and he taught us this in the early days, that it takes time for people to become fully engaged. As they become engaged and you push content to them each month, they watch more, they become more and more active, and they begin to share and give you feedback and comments and all that sort of thing. But what we're doing is we're taking those 40,000 people who viewed, again, this is a commercial one, this is business to business. We're going to show you in a moment how we do it in our stores. And we also create what Matt calls lookalike audiences. So as people watch a video, we can then retarget only the people who watch. So our spend becomes very efficient. We're not just throwing money at the mass audience, although we do some, 2-mile ring fencing and things like that. But we generate lookalike audiences, which are people just like the people who viewed the videos. So, are you getting your posts out there and getting 40,000 views in 6 days or 12 or 1,300 engagements? If you're not, you're going to want to hear what Matt has to say in a minute. The magic of this beyond the direct mail, which I know Pete's team gets, is always under pressure. We run limited time offers every month across 2 brands at the corporate franchisor level. And a lot of times we don't decide what that special is going to be. Many times that limited time offer is a direct response to something that hit in another brand. And Pete is always under the gun to produce content that's got, Pete, what's the typical lead time for a mail piece for you?
Usually it's 30 days minimum. So we usually run 60 to 90 days out on concepts.
Got it. So on this, with this sort of content, Matt and I shot this video on, I don't know, the weekend or Friday or something like that. We whipped it Sunday, I think it was. We shot the video, put it up, watched how people were responding to it, and we could immediately then adjust our choice about putting some ad money behind it or how to fine-tune the audiences. So it's real time. I'm showing you this in the context of, a commercial post. Same thing for our stores. We're going to show you those in a minute. But I wanted to use this quick video analytics, which comes right off of Facebook. 3-second views, again, that's people sliding past it on their timeline. Woohoo. But that's as good as TV advertising. It's as good as that direct mail piece that they threw in the garbage as they watched our logo go by, right, Pete?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They saw our logo. The only thing better than that would be get them to buy hot sauce bottles and put them in the refrigerator and look at them every day when they open the door, which we do that too.
We're doing that.
but what as you go into audience retention down here in this part, this is what really, really matters. Audience retention is how long people stayed in that video. So Matt's going to talk about engagement and about how measuring the engagement both from a viewing perspective and then actions they're going to take is what teaches you or what helps us know who's committed. I mentioned earlier that we saw 300 people watch all 20 minutes of that promo video. Now, maybe they fell asleep and left it running, but for the most part, they watched it, right? So curious people are great. We're going to talk about in Matt's part, how you have to create a big splash at the beginning of the video, talk loud, bright colors, orange shirts like Matt wears. 30 seconds in, the customer is really engaged. But 5, 10, and 20 minutes, or if you do a 5-minute interview with a staff member and people really watch that, you'll see those get real traction. Shorts matter, but here you can see, you can look at every video in real time. I mean, it's almost an addiction, almost like looking at the point of sale system to see how the sales are going every day, right, Pete? You put up a big video like you're going to see one in a second. I think I've got one here in a minute. But you put up a big video and you want to see, did anybody watch it? Are they staying on it? And then if it runs, if it gets some lift, then we put ad money behind it on top of it. But what I'm talking about is organic posts that you convert into paid posts. So Matt's going to give us a deeper dive into engagement. What I'm telling you is we're getting conversion rates. We're getting real action. You can see it right at the bottom of these posts. This is a buy one, get one free promo that's kind of a standing post on each of our sites. Matt, in these type of posts, if I'm a customer that has redeemed it or has already seen it, will I see that post every time? Or is that designed so that I don't see it again if I've done some action on it?
Yeah, it's designed to exclude people that are already in the program, and especially people that have redeemed. So it's equivalent to the Sunday paper coming to your house, and because you've already gotten this ad, we ripped it out. You don't see it anymore.
Yes. So when I look at it as an administrator, I see that thing every day. But the reality is all of our local audiences in the local areas of these stores, they only see it once. I mean, they'll see it until they act on it. And once they act on it, they don't see it anymore. So this is what I call the free stuff is the bait, right? We're not always giving away free, right? We are very sensitive to discount rates. And as Pete mentioned earlier, one of the things we don't like about direct mail and direct mail coupons especially, the same customers bring them in every time. This is bringing in new customers. If you read the little text here, you can barely see it. The customer is driven to make a comment. When they make a comment, as a result, the messenger system, the technology we'll talk about in a minute, begins to interact with them just as though one of Pete's staff was text messaging back and forth with them through Messenger. He draws them through a couple of steps, which include giving up their email addresses. We have literally across the 28 stores, actually among the 8 stores in the pilot, we acquired 40,000 active permission marketing Facebook Messenger members in just about 6 or 9 months last year in 8 stores. Again, we're acquiring them now at the rate of 900 a day across 28 stores. They're giving us permission, right? The 50% of those people that came in, as I've said a couple times now, are brand new. They don't know how to order a pizza in a pick all your toppings kind of model. They may know Chipotle, but we've got a lot more stuff than Chipotle and custom sauces and all sorts of things that they don't know how to do. They also, once they get in the program, again, they've given us their permission, and Pete's team is now pushing the limited time offers, which are not discounted. They're just cool new combinations of products we generally already have, or radical products, like we deployed teriyaki chicken on a limited time offer in our Mexican restaurants, and it was one of the biggest hits of all time for us, but we did not discount that product. So we're using it. Once they give us permission, we're pushing content constantly to stay top of mind. Just like the big brands use television advertising, or really television, we're using this content to reach the audience. So again, look at the bottom. These simple promos, 66,000 people have seen them, but 12,000 people on the pizza promo. That is one store, folks. That's not across our brand. That is one store. I think that store has been active about 4 months, maybe something like that. Lima came in December, but 66,000 people saw it. 12,000 literally played the video or play along or interacted. And over here, a similar thing from one of our hothead stores. Again, continue with results. I'm a couple minutes behind, so I'll move quickly. The offers drive people in, but Matt warned us early on. We need to make sure that a store that's in the program needs to understand how to redeem. They need to give excellent customer service, because the customer, when we see a store that's getting low redemptions or low return visits after the initial redemptions, it could be because of apathy on the part of the crew. It could be the cleanliness of the store. It could be they were out of products. We'll talk about how social media helps you detect all those problems. But once people have come in, you see the column here, redeeming. This is a list of stores. I just cropped off the names of them. We're getting significant engagements. Of the people engaged, a very high percentage, engaged being they told us what their favorite pizza topping was, or whatever it might have been in the post. Matt then offered them a free pizza. If they click on the coupon, they got the coupon and they redeemed it. You'll see in a minute how our redemption rates are more than 20% and higher than 30% in some stores. And literally, those customers have a propensity to, after the discount, still have a significantly larger dollar per ticket than our existing customer. And once they've bought those big meals and they've gotten acquainted with our food, again, we're pushing the limited time offers with no discounts. We're pushing them all kinds of other content to stay top of mind. We'll talk about fun videos. Continuous content is critical. For anybody who thinks this sounds easy, it is not easy. We tried it in the beginning. We really didn't understand the workload. And I say this in that Pete has a team of a half a dozen folks that do nothing but create our ads, our content, everything it takes to run the two brands. This is an entirely different endeavor on top of that. I would say don't try it at home, kids. You want to try it with help and guide. You need a guide like Matt. I'm not trying to sell his services. I'm telling you that I've been doing it 6 months. And about 2 months ago, I finally figured out how to direct a couple team members to start going beyond the content that Pete's team produces, which is excellent, but it's the same across all stores. And we're moving to organic posts. Organic posts are videos shot in the store. Simple, quick. It's free, although we may put some spiffs out to our staff to do it, but we publish them for free. We're not putting ad money behind those, except when one gets a lot of views, it gets a lot of organic traffic, as they call it. Then we juice that with ad money. In a minute, I'm going to tell you why to not use the boost post button, why to use targeted ads. But here you have an example. We just opened, as a brand, we opened the very first Hothead Mexican Grill in Cantina. This one has 27 taps of self-pour alcohol. mixed drink cocktails and beer and cider, and literally the first in the nation shots of liquor. You'll see another picture out to the right. That literally top shelf liquor that you can use to top off that margarita and make it a double, or get some Crown Royal on ice, or mix it with vanilla pop if that's what you want to do. Matt helped us take these, as that Cantina location opened about 10 days ago, aside from the normal direct mail, the grand opening, you can see how this video went to almost 4,000 views. This is a time-lapse video. It's super engaging. It makes you crazy to look at it. And then this video, which I shot to show people how to pour shots of liquor. Unfortunately, I moved the little bar there. It had thousands of views and hundreds of engagements and people sharing it. We did something remarkable. We're the first place in the nation where a consumer can pour their own shot of liquor and juice up their drink, thanks to Darren and team up at iPour It. Put a little plug in for you. I don't like that shout out thing, but that's a plug, right? So simple videos, we're going to talk about how that works. Organic posts that you do, the little stuff, if they go along with the ones where you're spending money and the money you're spending is highly targeted, the result is you will get very high views, thousands of views on the ones you're paying for, and it lifts the other videos. Again, we'll let Matt talk about this more, but the moral of the story is we get tons of free publicity for our organic posts that we do not spend money to post. And when Facebook sees all the comments and the likes and the shares, they then show our content to an even broader audience for free, and then we connect the messenger code to them, which actually starts converting people to make them into customers. I'm going to close off on this and keep moving on here. Yeah, thanks, Pete. The reviews, the battle of reviews. Anybody in the restaurant business or anybody I know loves to hate Yelp. It seems like only grouchy people comment on it. We have successfully, as a result of bringing people in the rewards program who are social media driven customers, they have a very high propensity to make comments. And it's kind of a principle of reciprocation. You've given them free stuff through the reward program. They're social media active anyway. They come in, and if they have a great experience, they make good comments. We've driven our stores up into the 4.5, 5 range. This one's at 3.5. Really, really great results. And I'll skip through this really quickly. We then applied this technology to go market our catering business. We simultaneously use what Matt refers to as dark posts. So only first-time customers see them. Once they get in the database, we email them. We're going to talk about why email still matters. Matt will go into this deeper, but we have taken all those opt-ins, and once a month, every consumer in the market, like it's graduation month, right? They're all getting invited to have a catering event, and they're taking advantage of it. We're getting daily catering events. We never had daily catering events. So Matt's going to talk about how it all works together. We're going to talk about how we are getting a significant return on investment in what we're doing. With that.
Awesome, Chris. I think this was really informative. I think what we wanted to do is we wanted to start with real results, and now we're going to get into the how and the why, which, we've seen great results from Chris, but we want to see, how do we actually do this? So I'm going to turn it over now to what Matt has done. This is not simple web marketing. This is the why marketing to build an engaged database. So over to you, Matt and Chris.
And Matt, real quick, I'm going to throw a quick audience poll here, make sure everybody's still awake out there, and then you can key off of the way people answer. How does social media fit into your marketing programs today? For those of you who have stores or are investors in stores or across a couple of brands, what are you doing today as a portion of your media marketing budget? Is it active? Is it a strategy? Is it an afterthought? Thanks again for those of you who are responding. We really appreciate it. Gives everybody a sense of where we're going. And Matt's going to talk about how it becomes part of an overall strategy. Yep. So familiar with it, but not familiar with the details. Perfect. Matt, this is your audience. For those of you who are really considering it, I think you've come at the right time. So I'm going to, without further ado, let's get Matt back on the screen. Matt, just holler at me as you want. I'll move along real quick.
Okay. So what we want to talk about today is the fact that the problem most businesses have is this little chart that I've made up, my amazing artwork, is that
I could have helped you with that.
Most businesses, especially restaurants, they spend money to drive sales. And the problem that I have with that is when you have a successful promotion, when a direct mail piece does great, when a radio campaign does great, and you want to have those same results next month, you've got to pay the piper. You got to spend money again. I'm a proponent of spending money to grow an audience, and we're going to talk about ways to do that. But two of the biggest things here, if you'll click the next slide, is the fact that nobody is seeing your content. It's businesses spent a lot of time, including myself, the past 20 years building an email list. I've started my email list in 1999. September of 99 is when I started mine for my business. Back then, you could get 80, 90% open rates, and it was great. People got an email, they were excited. Social media, the same thing. That 5 years ago, 10 years ago, social media, when we were doing Facebook back in 08, if you had 100 fans, 100 people saw what you posted. If you had 1,000, they saw it. Well, that went away. So that is the biggest thing that's happened right now, is that people spend time to build an audience, and the audience has gone away because of a couple reasons. Now, if you go to the next slide, the email marketing part, we'll talk about why email. Yeah, Chris is going to talk later. It does have effectiveness still. All marketing works. It's a matter of how deep it works. And one of the biggest problems we've seen with email marketing that we're trying to solve with Messenger and moving forward is not trying to ruin it, because email was ruined by me, people like me, marketing people, restaurants. This snapshot on the left is from a restaurant, a fast food chicken style restaurant. And if you notice, every other email, the ones that go to 4,600 people, it's 4,678 people, that's the bulk of their emails. They're sending the exact message to the entire database. So Matt Platt might get a college night promotion. My assistant, who's 25 and single, might get a kids eat free. It doesn't relate to us. And so we ignore the emails. We start tuning them out the less specific we get. And so in this case, this client's got a database of 4,600 people that are getting their emails, but only 600 of them are opening on average. So there's 4,000 left out in the dark. So we're going to talk about how to fix that. And we're also going to talk about next mediums like Messenger. Now, the next slide is about social media. Facebook is pay to play, like it or not. And what I love about the fact that it's pay to play is the fact that you can use the payment to get your organic back up, like this is going to show you. And what happened with social media was Facebook, maybe it's how they started off on accident, I don't know. I remember when they went public, and all the talk was how Facebook wasn't generating revenue. And now I saw today that they're like shrugging their shoulders over a $4 billion fine they're going to get. They're like, we put the money aside. No big deal. It's like you putting $10 to my daughter for gas. But they hadn't figured out revenue 5 or 6 years ago. They've nailed it now. And what they've done is they've taken that water faucet. If you look at this is a Facebook page for a business that has about 5,000 fans. And on average, 500 to 700 are seeing their post on a daily basis. The highest one here is 900. Now, there are
so
ways
Matt,
to
what
get
you're
that
saying.
back.
So what you're saying is the folks on the right, as the 4,000 people that come to that page, anytime they put up a little shot of video, a clip, an employee interview, a photo of food, they're getting organically 500, 600, 700 views.
Yeah, for the most part. And so the majority of their audience aren't seeing it. And if you look, there's a little orange circle along that timeline there. We're going to show what that is in a couple slides. But that's what happens when you get organic traffic. So if we go ahead and go to the next slide, we're going to talk about how to get your audience back. And we're going to talk about what if you could get these people back. And so the next slide talks about the tale of two journeys. And this is what's powerful. And I was actually just looking at this. This is the Cantina page you were talking about. Here's a person that just redeemed their offer at the restaurant. And we're talking about ways to make things better. I want to find it because I just saw it. Here's a person named Brian Hansen. And Brian opted in on April 17th, so 8 days ago.
Yep.
Came into the restaurant today at noon, redeemed his offer in Messenger, spent $20.75 net, and then answered 3 questions. He let us know he eats with his family when he goes out to eat. He has kids under 18 years old, and he enjoys both lunch and dinner at the restaurant.
Nice.
So I'm going to tell you why that's
so now you know exactly what to promote to him.
Exactly. So if you look at this top line, email. Right now, email, you send 5,000 emails. If you're lucky, you get a 20% open rate. That's 1,000 open emails. That means 4,000 missed opportunities. If you get a 5% engagement rate of 50 conversations, some of those are going to be, hey, take me off your freaking list. But if you get 50 people engaged, you don't know what happens. Nobody comes running in like, dude, I got your burrito email, I'm here. They just don't do it. They forget. That's what marketing is. Well, if you look at Messenger, next line down, what we're seeing are dramatically different results. We're seeing the stats from email 20 years ago. 80% open rates, 4,000 open messages, 40% engagement rates, 1,600 conversations. And then we're able to, through Messenger, track that customer became a customer and see what they spent. Now, the cool part about that, how we don't ruin Messenger like we ruined email, was those questions I asked. We asked the customers, why do you eat here? When you come, like family and friends, we don't want to say, are you married or single? That's a little too intrusive. But typically people that answer, they come with family, are typically guys like me with kids. And then they ask how much kids, and we find out the people if they eat lunch or dinner. Why is that important? Because where I live, for example, not many people eat lunch around here because they work somewhere else. So we want to market to people. If they say they eat lunch at a place, okay, they probably work there. So let's not hit them with a Friday night promo. Let's hit them with a lunch promo and a take-home promo. Hey, it's 4 o'clock. If you're ready to go home, we got a great offer to take something home with you, because we know they eat lunch here. They probably work here. So that is the way to get your audience back. It's Facebook Messenger. It's staying on the cusp of what's happening. And I can tell you, I talked to the head of Messenger 6 months ago at a conference and said that we're way ahead of everybody else. Restaurants, businesses haven't even started scratching the surface of this. And it comes down to more eyeballs.
More eyeballs and more actual conversations, right? More actual conversations with customers that you can track.
I mean, and it's, people ask the question, somebody asked me today, why do I think it's so important? I tell them, if you could have if somebody is typing your name in Messenger, if somebody is messaging your page on Facebook 3, 4, 5 times in about 30 seconds to a minute, you're not only making an impression, you're having a conversation, and conversations lead to great things. And conversations, if you're talking to a cop, can lead to bad things, but it's not going there. So this is where we talk about getting your organic reach back. Now, one thing that we do in our program is we use our Facebook ads to encourage engagement. And we want to show Facebook that we're getting a lot of attention now. And so if you look at this, where that little orange bubble is, this is that same page I showed you earlier. We took a Facebook page that was getting very little engagement. We took our post for our promotion and we propped up the rest of the page. If you look, the numbers on this, the lowest reaching post on here organically, these are all organic, no money, is 900. That was the highest before. The other ones are 1,500, 1,300, 1,800. I think there's one for 1,900 on there. That is all done because all tides rise. Facebook is like, okay, why are all these people on this page all of a sudden? We're going to show the content to the people we should have been showing it to. But Facebook is all about their timeline not being eaten up with content that people don't want. It's like equivalent to if you opened up the sporting page of the newspaper, if you still get it, and it was political, you'd be confused. Well, on Facebook, they want to show people, and even Instagram and YouTube, when you get on there, they want to show you the most pertinent information that relates to you. So if they see that you're engaging with content from Rapid Fire or Hothead Pizza or I Pour It, they're going to keep showing you content that's relevant to that. And then the coolest part is they're going to look around your sphere. Okay, Matt lives near the Hothead in Union, Kentucky. Who else looks just like Matt that lives in the near the Hothead in Union and is around that area right now? And they deliver the content there. That's what grows your database. Now, the next part is putting butts in the seats. This is probably the part that got me the most excited. Oh, is this video? Yeah, okay, here's video. So this is something I want to talk, we'll talk about this. I do this as an example. I picture you're at the Super Bowl. So everybody, we're at the Super Bowl. Darren, you're at home. You got your feet propped up. You got your own, you have an iPort system in your house, by the way?
I don't need one.
Maybe that'll stop.
And the reason is because I'm the only person who drinks at my house.
Well, he's very near a big iPort installation.
True, that's another one. Thank you.
So you've got your favorite adult beverage, you've got your Doritos, you're watching the Super Bowl. And imagine that first column, gain awareness. All marketing's goal is to gain awareness. Now imagine 2 days later, because Cheetos knows that you were watching their commercial on the Super Bowl, and they know that you said, oh man, honey, look at those new Cheetos. Those are great. They hit you with another message. They retarget you. Well, it's not possible on TV. And then imagine a week later, they say, hey, because you watched our Super Bowl commercial, because you watched our second commercial, we're going to hit you again. Not possible. Well, the bottom part is exactly what we did with the Hothead Cantina. About a month and a half ahead of time, we got a video from iPort, and we ran that video to hype up the audience around the restaurant. This is coming. Pay attention, check it out. And we did a very targeted audience, targeted men and women that have different beer affiliations, certain ages around the restaurant. Well, then about 3 weeks later, when we knew we were about 2 weeks out from an open, we ran the next one. And this was actual footage from the restaurant that Peter shot. He stood in front of the thing. He said, hey, what's going on? It's Peter from Hothead Canteen. I'm going to show you our great new concept. And he walked in the restaurant, showed him the beer wall. We used that, but here's what's unique. We retargeted the people who watched the first video because we went to Facebook and said, hey, show me all the people that watched the first video. I'm going to show them this one. And then after that was all said and done, we showed them it again with a call to action. So when it was the third part was there's Pete in front of the restaurant, the other screenshot of it. When he's in front of the restaurant, we then put on there, tell us your favorite beer below and you'll be registered to win a burrito party for 10 people. And people started commenting, clicking the link, and it grew a database, and it allowed us to really amplify the marketing because we were having a specific conversation with people who had already engaged. It's equivalent to dating. If every week you were 21 years old, went to a different place, remember Groundhog Day, where he every day woke up and it was a new day? Well, that's traditionally marketing. We don't have Groundhog Day. We know tomorrow's marketing message hits the person we talked to yesterday, and then tomorrow's hits the person we talked to today. And so we're walking down a path. These are 3 social media posts, and we talk about gaining engagement, putting butts in the seats. You know, if you're a restaurant watching this, I'd ask you this question. When was the last time your one location business, like this Rapid Fire in Fairfield, had 4,800 comments? I can go ahead and give you the answer. It hasn't. I've never seen it. I saw a huge one by Culver's 3 months ago. They were bragging about the Industry Magazine. Their million person fan page had 2,000 comments, and it was a huge deal. Well, that is pretty cool. But when you can do it on a local level, it's even cooler. And this is what helps you get your engagement back. This is what helps you have conversations.
But wait, Matt, that's worth repeating in case anybody's fallen asleep with us here, is that somebody with the size of Culver's has 1 million people on their Facebook audience, theoretically, right? I remember Pete and I looked at our social media universe a year ago, and at a monthly basis, it was 1 million interactions. Now, half of those are people looking us up on a map, right? But are those 1 million people, they had 2,000 people interacting with them, actually commenting, liking. We're getting that at the store level every month, at all the individual stores with individual local patrons. That's the result. That's what this is really all about. And here's where you measure it, right?
There's where you measure it, because there's right there. I mean, this is a one location restaurant in Columbus, Ohio. That's a small brewery / like smokehouse. You know, this ad, and these people are around the restaurant. We are literally targeting 2 to 4 miles in certain directions because we know if I go more than 2 miles this way, I get shot. We don't want to go that way. We know if we go 5 miles this way, we hit a river and people are in the river. So we've got certain things we're going after. And it's 4,000 comments, 894 shares. And
the sharing's amazing.
Yeah, it comes down to being visible with the right people. But the cool part about it is, all of the interactions we do lead to Facebook Messenger, which lead to a messenger database. And the cool part about this, why I'm excited, is that the big boys, I talk to big brands all the time. It goes right over their head. They have no clue what's going on. I talked to one the other day, hundreds of locations. They can't fathom how this is happening. The cool part about it from a smaller level, they're too big to put it in place. They literally are scared of putting something new in place. The local guys can come do this tomorrow and get this thing going and crush it.
Well, and for us as a super regional brand, I mean, we have 2 brands altogether, about 100 stores, and that's what Pete and I are building together, building stores. This is our ability to compete with TV. This is our ability to compete with the big brands, and we're winning the hearts and minds of customers. And the reality is, people go to lunch with whatever or wherever is top of mind. Like you said earlier, whatever restaurant brand they heard of yesterday, when they think I'm hungry, it's what they heard of in the most last couple of days. Right, Pete? This is our cable TV mechanism, our sports TV way of being top of mind. So they decide, and we love having two brands because I'm hitting you with both, and maybe you pick tacos one day and pizza the next.
Yep.
All right. We're running tight on time. I think we have just a couple more things about the database there.
Yep. So what I talked about earlier when I mentioned the person took the survey, and we talked, like, one thing we're getting real big on, we just hired a content manager. We're trying to get much smarter at this because we realized we have so much data. This is a dashboard in Facebook Messenger. Now, this is an app that plugs into Messenger. This is like equivalent to like a MailChimp. So the email example I showed you earlier that had the 10 to 12% open rates and the 4,000 people who weren't engaging, and you saw that every email went to the same number of people. This is an example in a rapid fire of an audience that's been getting messages. And you look, this customer has about 5,000 people in their database. The only one that had a huge amount of people, 4,095, that got this was the Calzone. It was a brand new menu item. It was a marketing message. It had no sales pitch. It had no call to action. It was just this cool video of the calzone, rip it in half. That's all it was. But if you look at the other ones, none of them are close to 5,000. 721, 623, 2,700, 1,400. The reason is we have segmented the audience and said, how can we have a conversation with this segment that makes sense that this segment doesn't want to hear, and then have a different one here. And that's also why you see 88%, 84%, 92%. I mean, look at the one down there, the combo meal offer broadcast. 99.21% of people who got that opened it. Like, my wife doesn't listen to me that much. So, for good reason. So that's the power of it. And this right here just
that's the conversion.
Some of the aspects. You know, this is a cool part of how you can measure. Now, I'm one thing, you don't want to always discount in these promotions, but what is cool sometimes to do is have an offer in there so you can at least see you're on the right path. Because if I build a database of 5,000 people and none of them come in, it does me no good to have that database. But if I build a database, like in this case, 2,102 people were delivered this message for a cheesy stick, which, what's a cheesy stick cost the restaurant? $2?
Yeah.
So 2,102 were delivered. It was opened by 89.5%. 1,000 clicked it. Of those 1,000, they had about 2,500 in sale. I think it was like 178 people came in, redeemed that offer on their phone. So one, it allows us to attribute that this person is active. Let's send them another message that's branding in 2 weeks. That's telling them about XYZ, or, you know, talking about, you know, reason to cater parties, graduations. So we know we have a customer that's there, but it's really neat from a standpoint that you can see that you can attribute sales there, but also to see that a $2 item drove almost 200 people into a restaurant is pretty cool.
Yeah, and you can do it over and over again, which we're going to talk about, right? Is that when somebody redeems, now you know that guy likes us, and you trickle other offers, again, reducing the discount rates, keeping the ideas in front of them. And Pete, I'm going to have you go through, we're going to talk about some of our actual ads as examples of the content. This is just an upfront look at what one of those messages looks like. Really, it's as though your team, like Pete's team, is chattering away, and you'll see in a minute how we get rewarded for that high chatter rate by Facebook and shown to a lot of people. So this is Matt's favorite dashboard. We're very tight on time, but Matt, we just step through the columns real quick. This is just one store, just as a single store example, right? It's the get awareness, build a database, and drive sales. And what everybody on this call cares about is what's my acquisition cost.
It's this. When we spend money to get awareness, why are we spending money? I'm a huge proponent of every dollar you spend, every penny should be to build a database. Now, you can build that database multiple ways. You can build the database to get video views on a social media or a YouTube video, a Facebook that you can retarget. You can spend that money to get a traffic to a specific page on your website, like you mentioned, catering. Let's drive people to a catering page. And then when we want to remarket to people who have visited the catering page, it's pretty simple. Hey, Facebook, YouTube, Google, show this ad to the people that came to this catering page. Or in like Darren's purpose, show this ad to people who visited about how to become an iPort company. And so
right, and we're going to.
The second part is build a database. And in this case, this is opt-ins in Facebook Messenger. And oddly enough, this next part is what has me the most excited, because it's when I'm able to tell clients that it's not working. Because the hardest part about marketing isn't knowing it's working. In my opinion, it's knowing it's not working. And if you know something's not working, you know where to cut bait. If you know something's working, you know where to ramp up. Like I've got a client I'm talking to tomorrow that said, Matt, we want to talk about the ad budget on the program. And so one of my conversations with them is going to show them that, hey, every time we spend, like if it was this client, an example, $7.14, we get somebody to walk through the door. Is that high? Is that low? But what's cool about this is I can see that of those opt-ins, 5,491 people, 31.63% of them physically walked into the restaurant. And what I always tell restaurant operators is that my goal as the marketing arm is to get somebody there once. It's Peter's job to deliver awesome experience on that visit to get them to go, I want to come back. And then after that, it's both of us together thinking how we can combine our efforts, bring people back more and more and more and more with great experience, great food, great self-serve beer, and then great reminders via marketing.
So what I'm going to do now is a quick transition, and we'll do one more poll, and then we're going to show you how to build that content. We're going to move quickly, and I'm going to tab Darren to talk about some examples with his clients.
Exactly.
Elena, go ahead, Elena.
Yeah, no problem. I'm just saying that I think we have a good problem, or one of those things that's a good problem to have, which is we have so much content in this. And as Chris has already alluded to, this was part of an original 4-part series, but we've gotten so much great reaction that we're going to extend this. So number one, we're going to go a little over today, but number two, we're going to continue to have these additional webinars because I think it's a really great content on how to grow your business. So I'm going to switch over to the how, social media content to get audiences and results, traditional versus engagement. And then, as you know, which is really important, is there's a lot of content in these webinars. Anything you don't get a chance to write notes on, you're going to get to listen back to in the webinar. So I just wanted to say that. So back to you, Chris and Matt.
Okay, great. Just one last poll that'll help set up the final topic where we're going to show you real content and how to do it. And what has been the most successful social media campaigns that you've executed in your business? Again, for those of you who are involved in single unit or multi-unit operations where you're actually hands on the wheel, what's working for you? Where are you getting the best results? And we did want you to pick which one was the best because we know everybody's trying a little bit of everything who's in the game. It looks like it's 100% Facebook and a little bit for Instagram. Again, thanks for playing along on the polls, everybody. It helps us understand the audience, and it keeps everybody awake, I hope. It's a little bit of fun. And it's a pretty simple outcome. Other than Darren, who's spending some money on Google, which he can talk about why that works for him, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. All right, well, we'll think about that as we go into the next couple of slides. Again, I'm going to move quickly, but I want to get Pete's input on these. This is all about building content daily. If you can get lucky, Matt tells us don't overthink it. Shoot, shoot, shoot. Take little short videos, right? Pete, describe what you've done, like when the Cantina opened, how you went out and shot stuff, and then how you assemble it. I'll have some examples here in a second. But
yeah, the quick one for the Cantina is just on an iPhone. I kind of come from a production background, so I want to go get lights and camera and get it all fancy. And Matt was like, no, just grab your phone and shoot it. I mean, Matt shoots 30 videos a week at least, maybe more. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to go do it. So I literally grabbed my phone, kind of like Matt said, went out in front of the Cantina, hey, this is Peter. I'm shooting my phone, holding it up, selfie. Did one take. Actually, I probably did 3 takes. I think I tripped over a curb a couple times. Did that, but it's all on my, just all on my iPhone. Then I flipped the camera around, walked in. I have a little Steadicam thing that Matt turned me on to. It's kind of fun for an iPhone, but for the first one, I just literally held the phone. There's people don't mind watching a little bit bumpy video. In fact, I think there's actually some benefit to it, according to my understanding about Facebook looks at video. So I just walked through it, talked through it. I did probably 1 take, maybe 2 takes of that. Did it right. but nothing fancy. Didn't worry about lighting.
Well,
didn't worry about sound, and
nope.
added it.
Pete just launched the Cantina, which was our first one with the liquor shots and everything with Darren's iPort platform. This is looking back at October when we launched. We took a Bowling Green, Ohio-based rapid fire pizza and retrofitted a year after it had been in operation with a beer system. These videos that went 30,000 views, 15,000 views, and we're still getting some to thousands of views when we do them each month, were all shot on phones. Most of them were single takes, unedited. Right, we did have one, and it was a great example. I think we had when we did the beta testers. You can see that on our website. There, we had a bunch of little short permission interviews. Dave said, "Hi, what's your name? Is it okay if I put you on Facebook?" And shot like a half a dozen of these. We took something simple. I think Ned from my team is using the new Adobe Rush product. We use iMovie. It's really simple. This is not huge production, but gluing those back together gives us great content. Offering free stuff. We talked about this. This you need Matt's help for. I mean, I wouldn't have known how to do it. We could create a post, but you've got to offer free stuff to trigger interest. It's not what you do forever. And again, they're hidden once somebody interacts. But you make these posts. These are simple, still, in contrast with everything we talked about video. These are still photography stuff. They're very simple. They're free stuff that gets them to give you permission, confirms their interest. If you go through the sequence yourself, if you were to go to one of these posts and try it on one of our pages, you can do it yourself. It'll prompt you. It'll grab your email as it goes by, and now you are in the system until you decide you want out. By the way, our opt-out rate is about 1%. Most people play along. The targeting that we're using is, and I asked Ashley, Matt, to give us kind of a sense. Matt and Ashley taught us to add questions to every post. We're doing the liquor pour shots. What would you pour? You want your content to prompt the audience to comment, because if you get the comment, then Facebook says, why is that page busy? And starts showing it to more people, right, Matt? You've got to get people engaged. So now Matt takes this simple post that we did, which, by the way, got to thousands of people and hundreds of engagements with no boosting, right? That's just an organic post. Then we come back after that post got some traction, and Matt, this is a dashboard where he is targeting the male 21 and above and the female 21 video viewers, not everybody in the community, only the people who watch those preceding targets, and those people are creating real actions. Here's an example of the Messenger system. Messenger, Matt, could you talk about how Messenger sequences work? Briefly, we're at about the end of our time, but we're going to go over about 10 minutes. But just so the audience understands the difference between a video post, a still post, and one that's equipped with Messenger.
Yeah, so the way we work with Messenger on a lot of what you're posting is certain posts that are going to get engagement will hook up to Messenger so that when somebody engages, it takes the conversation to Messenger and allows us to grow a subscriber base. Like you can see here, this is a restaurant that from January to, basically looks like middle of April, grew pretty quickly. And the concept is getting engagement not only helps your social media posts on your wall, and even if it's you go from 1 comment on a post to 10, that still helps. All those incrementals add up. But when you can get them into Facebook Messenger, and I had a guy the other day who was like, oh, we use Facebook Messenger. Everybody does, because you reply to people who ask, are you open this week? Are you open Easter? What are your hours? Do you have a gluten-free pizza?
Right.
Just because you're Messenger in that meaning doesn't mean you've got a database. You need to have a third-party tool hooked up like we have here with ManyChat that allows us to bring all those people into one place. And the cool part about the sequences is you can have conversations based off of a lot of A, B, C, D, E, Fs, whatever they've done. They commented, they got this, they redeemed an offer, they didn't redeem an offer, they said they had kids, they don't have kids. We had a really cool March Madness one we tested this year with a big sports bar in town in Northern Kentucky with 3 stores, because there's 7 major college basketball teams that people follow around here. Instead of them doing their normal messaging saying, hey, UK plays tonight, and everybody getting it who doesn't like UK, we did some promotions 60 days before March Madness, and we found out who were the Xavier fans: UC, Ohio State, Purdue, Indiana, UK, Louisville, NKU. And so when the bracket got announced, we had marketing messages for each team so that you could have a better conversation.
Excellent, excellent. And this is don't try this at home, kids stuff, right? Where we divide and conquer with Matt's team is that, and Matt told us this early on, and 6 months later, I really understand it. My team, as operating some stores, Pete is the corporate team, they are out getting content. Our job as the operator is to shoot content, get organic content, faces, names, pizzas, burritos, whatever it might be. Then Matt, and we keep doing our daily posts. What Matt's team is doing is wiring in the magic behind it to create the conversation. His team can't create the content. If you decide to go down this path, you have to be committed, and you have to post every day to every restaurant, right? It's not, the big guys are a long ways from tackling this space. Darren, quick aside to you, Darren was very helpful to us when we were doing due diligence on the Self-Pour platforms, and introduced to us a lot of the operators. Well, then we decided to do large format, 60 tap cantinas and tap rooms, and we met even more operators. But you told me a story of two large, like 40 to 60 tap operators, a couple miles apart. One's on social media and one's not. And what's the outcome like?
Actually, they're 3 blocks away from one another. So
3 blocks.
Yep. They're our closest, tap rooms. One is a tap room. The other one is casual dining. But we found that the casual dining concept has been more active on social media. And, we collect all the data. So I get to see the data. I can tell you that in those 2 instances, the social media marketing company or that casual dining business is outperforming the other taproom location, just based on that. We see a lot of it. Some of the concepts that, we see that aren't doing all that well, I think it's because of their lack of social media engagement and their lack of marketing engagement. So, as I listen to Matt, I get pretty excited about all of this because, we see a lot of data and we've shared a lot of data back to our customers. And when you can show stuff like this, I think it's really, really powerful.
Well, and Darren, your data is as anonymous as it is to me as one of your customers. You still see
Sure.
10 million ounces poured a month, millions of customers a month, and the ability to, I know that you guys have explored ways that you can help your operators, jump into a program, experiment with a program like this. And this is what we're doing. Pete's doing it at the franchisor level. He's part of the pilot that we're doing at Wiley Development. We can't make franchisees do much of anything other than follow the rules. But we try it out, we eat the dog food, and then we show it works, right? So in your case, you're looking at doing some experiments to help some operators that are good try to get amazing results, right?
Yeah, in fact, going back to your Google AdWords comment, we're business to business, and it seems like Google AdWords was the proper direction for us to go. We're talking primarily with business owners and entrepreneurs. As I start learning more about the programs that you're putting together and, learning more about what Matt does, because we're a partner with you, we want to be working with people like Matt and on these programs to help increase our audiences, not only for iPour It, but for our operators. So we're actually, and I owe you a call, Matt, but we're working on, a program, to help our operators and use some of these concepts that you're presenting here to encourage our operators to be more successful. Because, you're successful, we're successful, we're successful, you're successful. So this is really important, and I love what I'm seeing today.
Yeah, that's awesome. And, by the way, having kicked off something like the Cantina with it, or when we did our retrofit of the Bowling Green store, when it was to put this in context, our Hotheads normal quick service restaurant concepts didn't have alcohol other than maybe a margarita fountain type of thing, right? Very simple. When we opened the Cantina 10 days ago, we had to re-educate our audience in a town that, how many Hotheads are in Dayton, Pete? 20?
Over 20 in the greater Dayton area.
Over 20. So there's over 20.
10 years, so.
Yeah, it's a 10-year-old brand, 20 stores in town, a couple of them experimenting with margaritas, and now we modified the name, called the Mexican Grill and Cantina, and put in 27 taps and the first hard liquor thing in the entire country, and we had to change our audience's mind, right? And honestly, that first night was, VIP night was great, and the first couple of nights was pretty busy. all of a sudden, this groundswell, by the next weekend, every table had flight glass trays on it. I mean, we ran out of flight glass trays. People were pouring flights. How did we do that? We did it with the videos. I don't know if I have one of those right here. I don't have one right in front of me. But we literally shot a bunch of videos of people pouring flights. We were showing the time lapse. You know, some had ad money behind it, some was organic. All of a sudden, it's like the tide came in, and people who did not associate us with alcohol came in specifically to enjoy margaritas and flights of beer. And by the way, flights of margaritas. Who would have figured?
Yeah.
Amazing. So
I think, Chris, you and Peter have really, I mean, you've hit something really big there. And I know you're going to get into your last slide and talk about how you partner and you know, how you get involved. But what you've done in that location with Hotheads, the cantina, and the floating of the alcohol, you know, you're the first location in the country to do it. You know, listen, I don't want to give away all your secrets, but I think that's a secret that you've just now kind of talked about, and you're doing
it's
something
huge.
Very right there. Yeah,
it's huge and fun. So to close out on last couple of things, again, I literally have some team members who have never done this, who dove into this, an intern, a technical analyst from my team. It's like, guys, go to the stores, take pictures with your cameras, hurry up, do more. They're shooting 20, 30 clips a day. They're shooting 10, 15-second shots. Ned, who's never used video editing software in his life, literally is posting to 4 stores a day now. I mean, in the last 5 days. You know, we had Pete's team, awesome rock star guys down at our corporate office, but we took this over because we needed the organic at our stores. We needed, Matt said, get your employees' faces on the video, tag them in the video, have them share with their friends. We have an employee interview, a 30-second interview with an employee who loves anchovies. The thing hits 1,000 views in one day because he tagged it and he shared it with his friends who share it with their friends, right? This is not commercial marketing. You have to change everything you know about it, shoot a ton of clips, stitch them together, dial the sound down since our restaurants are kind of noisy, and post the silly things. And when you post, you've got to post with some thought. Right? We can reuse that same shot pouring video. We crossed it over and showed it in our pizza restaurants. Hey, what if we had liquor shots like those other guys? They don't know we own the other store, or even I don't own it, the brand does. We got 2,000 views in one day. People, and they were commenting about what they wanted. What I'm saying is you've got to write the content, you've got to get creative, and you've got to always have a question. Matt, I still don't know what tags do, but we're putting them on there. You can, teach us more about that on another day. But the thing is again, this is not a hobby. We have 28 stores in the pilot. I only control 4 of them. It is a haze of video content. I immediately overran my Mac Air. Literally couldn't get email. Pete warned me, get a backup drive, put your video on it. And I literally was gridlocked on about my 10th day of shooting videos, right? So we're learning these lessons, but the point is we're learning how to do it. And you can learn how to do it quickly, but you have to dedicate some people to it, and you got to do it at the store level. You've got to go walk through your restaurants and interview your staff and take pictures of food. It's what a friend of ours calls food porn. You got to have food porn all over your websites, but still photographs is not enough. These are the takeaways. Again, we will put this in a slide deck that goes out to you guys. I think you're starting to get it. The bottom line is, Matt likes to say, people go to Facebook to watch funny cat videos. This is not about production. Don't overthink it. Just get it done. Shoot tons of content. Videos are everything. You can use the videos and use the questions to prompt the comments, the shares, and the likes. Then you need a partner like Matt to do all the magic, to pull them into Messenger, capture the database, and make sense of it. And the last tips we have learned the hard way. Understand how people watch video. The first 3 seconds just meant they slid over it with their finger. It's as good as a TV ad, right, Matt? As good as a TV ad. We know they saw our logo because it was right there. But in the next 5 seconds, you got to have something jazzy like Matt's orange shirt, our logo, whatever it might be. 10 seconds in, you start to tell your story. What is your promo? Is it a catering thing? Is it we're pouring beer shots? But you have to act very quickly. And any customer who gets past that, they become part of our viewer audience, our retarget audience. Right, Matt?
Yep.
Hey, we are 10 minutes after the end of the hour. I can see real quick that we got a few people still left with us. We'll jump into something really quick. We've covered this already. Elena, excuse me, I'm just going to do a quick closing.
No problem.
There are ways that you guys can get involved with us. We are in the business. Pete works with and for the franchisor as a consultant for Hot Head and Rapid Fire Pizza. He handles the marketing. We created Wiley Development Group to go out and help folks like my son, was our first project, to go out and build stores, take our store managers today and go get them involved in a store. So we have raising the capital and we have the infrastructure, and we've done it now on 4 stores building the 5th. We have a half a dozen in the pipeline. We are here to help fund operators who want to go out into business. We're working now with a number of iPort operators that got one bar open and then realized they needed food for the next liquor license. And they're willing to partner with us to put the fast pizza in with their bar concept or the fast Mexican concept in. In this scenario, option one is we will fund for a partner who will operate, assuming they have a great track record and they have the other things that we would want to invest in together, and we all win together. The second way is we run into a lot of folks, and there's some folks on this call that already have some stores. They're already operating. I'm working with a guy out of Chicago that does, 7 Subways. He's looking for a way to put a bunch more stores in the same market, not drive so far and to stay off airplanes. In that environment, we will co-fund with that operator. We will let them operate. We'll help with all the heavy lift to rapidly select locations. We have build-to-suit partnerships. We can literally, by operating with both brands, we can stand up buildings and put a Hot Head on one end, a Rapid Fire on the other, and a tap room or cantina bar format in between them. We have the capital and the partnerships to do it. We're looking for qualified operators who already are in a market, have a footprint, have an office, supervisors run around in trucks, that want to double down and do another brand, usually because they can't build any more of the brand they're in, like Subway. Who's building Subways right now, right? Who's building Burger Kings? We got people crossing over from Burger King, Subway, Tilted Kilt, you name it, a bunch of other brands, steakhouses. The next one is we've met a number of people who say, I just want in the space. I don't want to operate, but I really like the space. I love the brand. We have some friends from Dayton that are kind of come to us in this way. And we have probably 24 from the last 2 events who said, when you build a store in Toledo or in Chicago or in Detroit, I'm in. If you work with us and you've got the experience operating, we will help you bring those partnerships together. We've done it for years and years and years in our own brand. We've done it in our family. Now we're taking it out together. And again, with Darren, we've been doing it with people that are iPort operators or people who have a dream of being new in it. There's only, 350 self-pour alcohol locations in the whole country?
Easy.
There's a few more, but yeah, I mean, there's only about 420 located.
Oh, 400,
right?
Right? But there's 350,000 restaurants in the country, and to put it in perspective, there's 23,000 Subways. We're at 100 stores. There's only 400 tap rooms out there of any size. Our goal is to go capitalize on this market, ride the fast casual wave, do it with the self-pour alcohol, which totally defines us and separates us from the Chipotles and the Blaze and the Mods and the Qdobas. So we're looking forward to doing that together. The last way is that we meet a lot of folks who say, listen, that's all great, but I got plenty of money. I just want to control the state of Illinois or the state of Texas. This is a map of where our area developers are established. The green states are the states where we're looking to bring on area developers. We help the franchisors do that. Anywhere we have an area developer, we are willing to go invest and build stores together with them. We are committed to doing it with self-pour alcohol wherever we can get the liquor licenses. Again, because it takes us in a stratification. There's fast casual to a certain point. There's steakhouses and other restaurants. We're going into that middle ground where it's fast casual. You can get a flight of beer, get a margarita, and move on, right? You're not stuck for the evening. You're not waiting on waitresses. And like Brett, one of the founders at iPort, said, you're not sitting at a yard house waiting through an entire football game to get a beer, right? Thanks, everybody, for joining us. I think there's 1 or 2 more slides that are in for fun just to sum it up. You'll get an email right after this, which will have a link to the recording. We really appreciate everybody joining us today. And for those of you who stayed all the way through the end, our thanks go out to you, and hope you enjoyed it. That concludes our presentation. Thanks, everybody. Matt, thanks for joining us. Darren.
Good work. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.